Namaste. In so many of our towns and villages, there's this one day that feels bigger than any festival. It's Result Day. The air is just thick with anticipation, with hope, and, let's be honest, a whole lot of anxiety.
And isn't that the truth? It's either sweets and big celebrations or, a heavy silence and disappointment. We pin all our hopes on these marks, and in that moment, we often find ourselves comparing our kids to the neighbor's son or that cousin who scored just a little bit higher. We do it thinking it'll motivate them. But we have to stop and ask ourselves a really important question. Does all this pressure actually work? Does it make them better students? And the answer, well, it's a clear and simple no. It doesn't create scholars. It creates something much more damaging. It creates exam fear. I want you to think of it like a wall, a high, thick brick wall that pops up and completely blocks a child's natural curiosity. It stops them from truly learning. So, in this explainer, we're going to give you the tools to help your child break down that wall brick by brick. Okay, so our first tool is all about a powerful shift in mindset. It comes from the idea of hartai, which basically means character building. Because think about it. Real character isn't built by always coming in first. It's built by trying, struggling, and having the guts to try again. I just love this. It illustrates the whole idea so perfectly. You wouldn't get angry at a wheat stalk for not growing mangoes, right? Of course not. Every child has their own timeline, their own unique strengths. So it's crystal clear. The very first step to breaking down that wall of fear is to just stop the comparison. So how do we actually do this? Well, here's the verbal strategy, and it's brilliantly simple. First, acknowledge the small daily wins. Instead of asking, how many marks did you get, try asking, hey, what's one new thing you really understood today? Second, we already know this one. Stop the comparison. Just remember the mango and the wheat. And third, reward the process. If your child has a little study corner, their knowledge nook, and they sat there for the full hour like they promised, praise that discipline. That effort, that's the real win. All right, let's move on to our second tool. This is for that moment we all know, when your child is just stuck on a problem, and you can see the frustration boiling over. Now, our first instinct might be to get a little stern, but here's the thing. When a child makes a mistake, fear literally freezes their brain. To me, that bridge for your child, you've got to turn the mistake into a hands-on, physical lesson. This slide really shows the choice we have as parents. Scolding? It triggers fear, and that just shuts down the learning centers in the brain. It's completely counterproductive. But showing? Well, that turns a moment of failure into a moment of pure discovery. Here is a perfect example. The numbers 10 minus 4 on a piece of paper can feel abstract, even intimidating, but 10 actual stones in their hand, that's real. When they can physically take away 4 stones and count the 6 that are left, suddenly the concept just clicks, the fear vanishes, and you can use anything for this. Seeds, spoons, buttons from a sewing kit. The magic is in making it real. And you know what you're really doing here. You are connecting Vigyan, that big idea of logic and science, with their world, with things they can touch. You're not just a parent getting annoyed over a math problem. In that moment, you become their first and most trusted scientist, guiding them through a little experiment. How powerful is that? Now for the big one, board exams. The pressure is just immense, isn't it? The whole world seems to shrink down to just those few weeks. And during this time, more than any fancy tuition or extra class, what your child desperately needs is a safe harbor. A calm, supportive home where they feel totally and completely secure. This might be the single most important sentence you can say to your child during exam season. You need to say it, and you need to mean it. This sentence doesn't lower your standards, it just lowers their anxiety. It makes it okay to fail, and it tells them loud and clear that your love isn't based on their performance. Okay, so on a practical level, how can we help them study smarter, not just harder? Try introducing them to the 15-10 rule. It's so simple. 50 minutes of deep, focused study, no phones, no distractions. Then a mandatory 10-minute break. And they have to get up, move around, stretch, maybe just look out the window. This isn't wasting time. It's like hitting a reset button for the brain. It prevents burnout and actually helps them remember more. And here is the wonderful, kind of amazing paradox in all of this. When you create that safe harbor, when you tell them their worth isn't tied to their marks, and when you give them tools to manage their energy, that huge weight of fear gets lifted right off their shoulders. And free from that weight, they are lighter, more focused, and they can actually perform better. Unconditional support is the best performance enhancer there is. So what's the real goal here? What are we trying to achieve? The goal of a good education can't just be about creating toppers who are anxious and stressed out all the time. The real goal, the one that lasts a lifetime, is to raise thinkers, kids who are curious, who are resilient, and who know how to learn from their mistakes. Ultimately, your support is their greatest strength. Believe me, the world will put enough pressure on them to win. You can be the one person in their corner who gives them the courage to try, to fail, and to get right back up again. Be the parent who claps just as loudly for the effort as you do for the victory.
For more practical strategies just like these, come visit us at burblg.com. Remember, our kids are looking to us for guidance. You are the bridge to their future. So let's be that bridge, not the barrier.